And we're back. Day 7 of the Minnesota State Fair, our special second hour of the show. Well, you know our next guest is the Bachelorette from Minnesota. Michelle Young is now using her platform for good by building better futures for our kids. State Fair audience, give it up for Michelle Young, everybody. Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
You were in our studio a couple months ago.
Yes.
Go Royals. Go Royals. Are you a State Fair lover in general?
I am.
Okay.
I always say that I'm going to eat more food than I actually eat, though, because I get full so quick.
Well, do you have I know this is a typical question, but everyone does. Do you have a favorite fair food or something you have to try to get when you're here?
I always have to go for the Pronto Pup. I feel like that's very common.
Yeah.
But I will say I hate olives, and the fried olives have hands down been my favorite.
Really?
Yes.
The fried
Have you had them?
I've had them, and I do not wear. We're cheering for olives too. Yeah. Row 1's really loving you. She's agreeing with every. No, the olive booth is back there. You know, I do not like olives. I don't mind them though fried, but I like anything fried. I mean, fry up anything. But so how are things? Will you tell the folks, when you were here last time, you were talking about your foundation. Remind the folks or tell the folks what the goal is.
I recently launched a foundation, the Michelle Young Foundation, and we have a program currently going right now called Homework and Hoops. And with that program, it's after-school tutoring for underserved students. So they get tutoring with literacy and math, and then they get to play an organized sport, which a lot of students who are in the underserved community don't actually get the opportunity to play an accessible sport or an organized sport. So we get to play basketball, and we have our basketball coaches there to train them.
And you, for people that don't know, I'm going to use present tense, you are an educator, you were a teacher. I know, and we've said this when you were on before, I know the value, whether it's sports or an extracurricular activity, the value of that in a kid's life. You believe that as well, that it's more than just the classroom. It's these clubs and activities that really help to form the foundation of these young people.
Yeah, when you really think about how a child actually forms, a lot of times it's the experiences outside of school. So you hear about like the opportunity gap.
Yes.
And accessibility. We don't call it the achievement gap anymore. It really is those opportunities outside of school. You know, learning to overcome adversity, all those social skills, those things that actually teach you to overcome adversity and work through life as a human, and that's what we do. We provide those opportunities.
I always talk about, our friendship groups. My friendship groups didn't come from classroom interaction. They came from the clubs that I belonged in, and those people shaped my life.
Exactly.
Yeah. Talk about the backpack campaign.
We're currently running a backpack campaign right now. It's a back-to-school project backpack, and it's $40 for a backpack. Basically, what we'll do is we'll pack these backpacks with a bunch of materials. So you have your notebooks, you have your pencils, you have all the essentials, and that backpack is going to go to a student in need. And so we'll drop them off at the school, and what's great about that, too, it is also supports teachers, because when I was in the classroom, I used so much of my own paycheck, which was not a lot, to purchase these materials. And so we're also providing materials to the classroom as well, so that teachers are not using their own paycheck.
Anyone that watches the show knows I love teachers. My third grade teacher was on the show. Let me read this stat here. This surprised me and made me sad. 90% of teachers spend their own money on school supplies. 90%.
Yes.
I don't mean to put you on the spot with an average. Like an average month, how much money do you think you would spend when you were in the classroom?
There's so much. There's not a lot of funding in education. And so I think that's the piece of it, too, is that depending on what school or what school district you're in, supplies run out. Kleenex, flu season, hand sanitizer. You go through COVID. You have hand wipes, all these different things. You have to pay for that if you run out. And so I used a lot of money, probably throughout the school year, more so like $600 to $2,000, I would say, out of my own money.
Okay, speechless on that one. Homework and hoops. Tell me about that.
Homework and Hoops, and so we're doing a tutoring program for our students. It's a small group learning program, and so they're getting that targeted instruction. They're able to get that one-on-one individual help. We're able to kind of catch them up, because a lot of our underserved students, after COVID, they're even further behind. So we're showing the average student has kind of caught up now. Our underserved students are now even further behind. So really kind of targeting instruction so that they can get that help.
I said this to you when you were on the show in our studio, that I love what you have done, and that is you've used something goofy Truly. Like, I mean, what we're doing is goofy, but you use the goofy celebrity that comes from being on The Bachelorette for good. And I mean that. It sounds cheesy, but I compliment you for taking that opportunity and not just letting it die on the vine, using what you got from The Bachelorette to shine a light on these things. Was that intentional on your part?
I was kind of thrusted in the social media world. Like I've said, I think we talked about this before. I had social media when I got The Bachelorette. So I really didn't even know how to post like an Instagram story. I didn't know how to work anything. They had to show me the ropes. And I kind of realized how toxic social media is. There's so much hate. There's so many mental health pressures and issues that go on there. And I'm like, why do people stay in this business? I have to figure out how to make my platform and make it fulfilling. And for me, it's giving back. It's using it for good. It's using it for positivity to make a difference and not for, the other stuff.
Can I ask you, on that topic, we had our friend Leslie Fema. The Minnesota audience will know her. She was from the Golden Bachelorette, a friend of ours. Yeah, Leslie was great. Leslie is great. I knew this. I shouldn't have acted surprised, but it broke my heart. Toward the end of her interview, she talked about how wonderful the Bachelor Nation is, but there is a river of negativity. You know what I'm going to say. Leslie was really hurt. There was something when she was on the show, something had just happened, and she got a wave of toxic feedback on social media. I'm bringing that up because bringing it to you, how did you filter that out during your time on The Bachelor? What was your strategy? Not looking at social media, having a friend do it? How did you protect yourself?
I think I really made sure that I reminded myself, and I had friends and family remind myself, that I was a part of the experience. I went through the experience. I knew the full story, but not everybody sees the full story. You see a snippet. And so there's times where it is a reflection and you have to reflect on yourself. And then there's times also where you're looking at it and you have to remind yourself of not everyone knows the full story. They jump to conclusions. And that's really hard to do. Easier said than done. And if you're having a hard day, stay off social media. Stay out of the comments.
Because you can get 7 great comments on social media. The one negative one, it'll ruin your day. Yes. I've had a lot of Wednesdays ruined by that. Anyway, give it up for Michelle Young, everybody. For information on everything we talked about, head to the MichelleYoungFoundation.com to learn how you can help. .org, right there. Don't listen to me. Read the screen. I've been here since 4 a.m. Just read the screen. We'll be right back. Back in a moment, everybody.